Today I would like to do a brief introduction to the concept of food sadhana. Sadhana is a Sanskrit term that refers to the process of making food consumption sacred. Not only food consumption, but also food preparation. This is very important from an Ayurvedic standpoint. And the information I am sharing with you today comes from Mark Halpern's textbook, and he is the director of the California College of Ayurveda. Eating food is a sacred action, and many of us will do it mindlessly and not really take into account that it is through our food that we are nourishing ourselves. And so taking it seriously is very important. And Mark Halpern here, I like his point. He says, when food is consumed, a person takes into his or her body atoms and molecules that have been around since the beginning of time. These atoms and molecules have played many roles over time. They were the stars, they were the earth, they were the dinosaurs, and upon consuming them, a person is hoping that they will join with them and become them. These same atoms and molecules will someday leave the person and become part of the earth again, and the plants, and someday join with other creatures, and this will go on and on. Hence, when food is taken, people are connecting themselves to everything that ever was, everything that is, and everything that will be. In doing so, the past, present, and future become one. I really love that idea. So there are some things that we can do to make our food preparation and consumption sacred. Some ideas here are to meditate to or upon entering the kitchen to become focused, and state a blessing or a chant to acknowledge the spirit of the food and what you are about to do. Stay present with the task at hand and do not let the mind wander. So preparing our food with singleness of heart shows respect to ourselves and also respect for where the food came from and respect for the people who will be eating the food that we prepare. The following quote comes from an ancient textbook of Ayurveda called the Charak Samhita. Healthy individuals as well as patients should observe the following even while using such of the food articles which are most wholesome by nature. One should eat only food which is hot, unctuous, and not contradictory in potency, and that too after the digestion of the previous meal. Food should be taken in proper place, equipped with all the accessories, without talking and laughing, with concentration of mind, and paying due regard to oneself. That is really impressive. There are some concepts in there that may not make sense to you, such as this idea of contradictory potency, and this is getting really into the nitty-gritty of Ayurvedic nutrition. But one example of contradictory potency would be eating milk with yogurt. Milk is considered a sweet substance in Ayurveda, and yogurt is considered sour. And so those two things produce a contradictory effect in the digestive process, and specifically the effect that those two tastes have on the liver. Here are some ideas for increasing food sadhana in your home. First of all, food should be taken in the proper place. It is wonderful to have a designated area where we eat our food. And I know in a lot of American families, as we're rushing around in the evenings and schlepping our kids from one activity to the next, sometimes dinner is eaten in our car, which is not considered a wise thing in Ayurveda. So having a nice place where you set out placemats and nice place settings and maybe have some flowers or something that are pleasing to the eye. This is an important part of food sadhana. And also eat food that is prepared by loving hands in a loving way. My teacher, Pat Layton, tells the story of eating at a restaurant in San Francisco, and one time she heard one of the cooks yelling at another cook, and she decided not to frequent that restaurant anymore because she said that that anger that the cook has is getting placed into the food that he is preparing. And so food prepared with love is going to produce a happy effect on the consumer. And if you've seen, there's a wonderful film, foreign film called Como Agua para Chocolate, and there's a scene in that that is so, that illustrates this so well, where the cook is sad and grieving while she cooks the food, and then a lot of people eat the meal, and then afterwards they're all crying, and then they end up vomiting the meal as a group. So that is a really good illustration of the energetic effects that the person preparing the food has on the food itself. Say grace before meals. This is really wonderful to just take a pause and take some deep breaths and offer gratitude for the farmers and the rain, and for God for giving you wonderful food to eat. And this time of mindfulness and sitting and pausing before we eat really will take us out of fight or flight mode, nervous mode, and into rest and digest mode so that we can digest our food really well. Food should be eaten without distraction. And I know some of you have gone on these retreats when you do mindful eating, and I did a bit of this during Ayurvedic training. And this is where you eat your food in complete silence. And this is extremely difficult. This is not something that I have implemented in my family, but I have taken some concepts and made them doable for our family. One thing is that I let the kids and my husband know right away to make sure that everything that we need is at the table before we start eating, so that I'm not getting up and down during the meal to grab things for people. So that's one way that I've honored this eating without distraction. And Vijay Mishra tells a story of a nurse who came to him with severe IBS, and she went through the whole process with him, 2-hour intake appointment and so forth, and the only assignment that he gave her was to stop eating her food while she watched television. And of course she was angry that she'd spent all this money to come see him, and that was the only thing that he told her to do. But he said, do it for 3 months and come back and we'll see how your digestion is. And lo and behold, she came back 3 months later and her IBS problems were gone. So multitasking while we eat is very disruptive to the digestive process. And I know that I'm talking to many mothers, and some of you have small children, and this is a really hard thing. But your kids are smart. They're not going to be babies and toddlers forever. And so teaching them the importance of stillness while they eat is important. And they will get it, I promise. Food should be taken in the proper frame of mind. And I've mentioned this in previous videos, but if you're eating while you're nervous, that is going to disrupt the peaceful digestion of your food. And food should be chewed until it is an even consistency. So here's another quote from the Charak Samhita. One should not take food too hurriedly. If it is taken too hurriedly, it enters into the wrong passage. It gets depressed and it does not enter the stomach properly. In this situation, one can never determine the taste of food articles or detect foreign objects mixed with them. It is important to chew food properly. If you would like me to create a customized Radiant Living detox and rejuvenation program for you, please email or call to schedule an appointment. My email address is patricia.wickman@gmail.com and my phone number is 715-529-3061. Please visit the Radiant Living website at www.rlyaa.com for more information and pricing.